Hi everyone, welcome to my November update. And for many of you, just like me, it's time to plan for 2026. And it's a great time to start thinking about what you might want to do in terms of selling or buying a house this year or even in the next couple of months. I have with me today John Pyne, who is my lender partner and is going to share with you some of the things going on in terms of lending and getting pre-approval and the steps towards that. So I'm going to pass this on to John and let him tell you what's happening.
Sure, thanks Barry. And it's one of those things where the best thing to start doing when you're looking to buy a house in the next year is to have a conversation early, in my opinion. Because then you can start getting all your ducks in a row. Because it's vastly different if you're buying a new house when you already own one. When you're a first-time home buyer, you don't have to worry about what are you going to get the equity out of your current home, whether you're going to have to make an offer that's contingent upon the sale of your next home. So it's one of those really important things where let's have a conversation early. Let's put a plan in place so that we can figure out, hey, do I need a home equity line of credit on my current place? Do I need to liquidate some assets? And so if we start talking about that, we can put a really strategic plan in place that can make it as cheap and as easy as possible for you to acquire that next home.
And if you're a first-time home buyer, there's some great programs right now to help that as well, in addition to just saving up for your down payment and everything.
Oh, there's tons of great programs. And the best advice I can give a first-time home buyer is to talk to me a year out. And the reason for that is that you might think like, hey, this is where I want my budget to be, and I might need to save some more money. Well, what I always tell first-time home buyers to do is we'll put a plan together for you. We'll give you a proposed mortgage payment, and then you can practice making that payment. Say, hey, take the delta between your current housing payment, your rent payment, and what your proposed mortgage payment is going to be, and just see how it feels.
And define a first-time home buyer these days. I think people misunderstand that it has to be the first time you've ever bought a home anytime, anywhere, and that's not really the case.
It's not the case. So the definition of a first-time home buyer from a mortgage perspective is someone who hasn't owned a home in the past 3 years. So if you haven't owned anything in 3 years, you're a first-time home buyer. And if your income is within certain levels, that's going to make you eligible for some really deep rate discounts.
Great advice. What about pre-qualifying versus pre-approved?
Sure.
They the same?
No, they're really not. So pre-qualification is based on, you put some information into a computer and, you'll get something back that says, hey, based on what you've told us, this works, but we haven't verified anything. Pre-approval is when a lender actually does a credit inquiry and they verify the information that you've told them. They get copies of pay information, asset information, anything else that is going to be material to loan approval. And they do that work up front because that allows you to shop with confidence, allows you that your loan is not going to be denied right before closing. Mm-hmm. And the biggest objection that I typically get as associated with a pre-approval is that, I don't want to have my credit run.
Right.
Well, we lenders these days, we understand that. So what we're doing is we're doing a soft credit inquiry up front. One, it's cheaper for the lender, but two, it doesn't put that hard inquiry on your credit history. The only time we lenders now do them is when you are under contract and you're moving home, because at that point, it does become a necessary part of the process.
And I'll tell you, as a realtor, it's so important to have that pre-approval. I or any other realtor really can't take you to see a property without having that pre-approval or cash, frankly, in hand to go ahead and do that. So that's great news. So what's happening in terms of lending and rates and things like that?
Sure, so you might have seen a lot of stuff coming about, but the government's trying to make housing more affordable again. But rates right now are probably close to their lowest levels over the past 3 years. Conforming 30-year fixed rates are right around 6%, diving into the high 5s, and then government rates, so FHA, and also if you're a veteran, you're in the mid 5s. And honestly, from a historical standpoint, that's not that bad. We're obviously not where we're going to be where we were during the pandemic, but I think if we can get down to the mid 5s, you're going to see a lot of activity in the housing market. My opinion, if you're asking, is that right now is a pretty good time to buy for the reason that we're at the tail end of this rate hike. And so if you wait for rates to come down, there's going to be a feeding frenzy in the market and prices are going to explode. Right? So right now is actually a really good time to buy, in my opinion.
I agree, and there's enough inventory out there for you to choose from, but not so much that you get lost in all that. And there's not a ton of buyers out there right now either. So get in while you can. And if you want to get in contact with John, see the link down below, and they'll be glad to help you. And I think you can turn this around in less than a day, right?
Usually we can issue an approval letter the same day that we talk, and there's no cost and no obligation.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great Thanksgiving and great holidays, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.